Hi all you awesome people of the internet, and welcome back to my Let's Play on Formula 197, and today we've reached round 7 of the championship. Yes, it's Canada, oh Canada, oh how I love Canada, and thankfully for our driver, Mr. Gabriele Tarquini, he likes it too. So out we go for the qualifying run now, just going past Champions War, which of course has claimed many a world champion in the past. Just off to the right hand side you've got the St. Lawrence Seaway. You can't quite see it, but it's there, just off to the right. Now revel everyone in the gloriousness, is that actually a word? I'm not quite sure, but I'm going to go with it. The gloriousness of the PS1 graphical engine. Just look at the gorgeous, just look at all those buildings in the background. You see those like tall skyscrapers? I'm sure really, oh my goodness, Gabriele Tarquini hit the wall there. I don't know if there's damage to his car. I think there may be, but he's going to carry on. But as you can see in the background, there are some really tall skyscrapers. I'm not quite sure in Canada whether they have got skyscrapers that tall. I think it's maybe just a little effect in the background, but we don't know. Perhaps they have. But Canada is very progressive after all, yes. Anyway, let's continue on for Gabriele Tarquini on his first lap of his qualifying run. Of course, we're driving in the Jordan Peugeot car for this 1997 season. A very decent car in 97, of course, in real life, driven by Ralf Schumacher as Gabriele Tarquini locks up the brakes there very, very hard. But the crowd are cheering him on, so you can see in the background. Just look at all those hundreds and thousands. The flags are waving. It's absolutely amazing to me, you know, all these years later, how much attention to detail they actually put into this game. It really is. In fact, I think some of the modern games haven't got the amount of detail that, oh dear, that was a little bit of corner cutting there from Gabriele Tarquini. Anyway, he crosses the line to the first qualifying lap, and it's a 1:21, which puts him in first place at the moment. Yes, first position, but I don't think any of the other cars have actually gone out. So lap 2, this is going to be our most important lap for Gabriele Tarquini as we go underneath the bridge. Let's see what time he's going to put in. Well, he's got a 23-second sector time there. Let's see if he can beat that. Just going in. Of course, don't forget he made a couple of mistakes in that lap, so it really wasn't that good. Oh, look at that. That's fantastic. 3 seconds up on that sector time. 20 seconds compared with 23. Let's see how he does in the second sector time. So, as you can see in the background, we have got all the signage that you're going to need for your Formula 1 experience. We've got Montreal signs. I think somewhere around the circuit there's a sign for the Beijing Olympics in 2012. I'm sure there is. Maybe on one of the other circuits, I can't quite remember, but on one of these tracks there's a definite signage for one of the Olympic Games in 2012, and of course don't forget this was made in 1997. Little bit of time machine tomfoolery going on there. Anyway, let's see what time he can beat. It's currently on a 1:21 as we go down the final very, very long straight now before we take the final chicane and go past Champions. Whoa, and he's cocked it. He's completely cocked that up. Oh my goodness. Sebastian Vettel's on a 1:17, but I think Gabriel's actually going to beat his time, even though he made a fundamental mistake. No, he isn't. And it's a 1:18, so into second position at the moment for Gabriele Tarquini. Of course, one of the greatest Formula 1 drivers of all time. Please feel free to Google him. No, not right now. Watch the video first, please. Davey needs a new pair of shoes for Christmas. Oh my goodness, and Gabriele Tarquini's gone straight into the barrier. Straight into the barrier there for Gabriele Tarquini. That was another fundamental error. I'm not quite sure what he's playing at the moment, but he's now 3 seconds down that sector time. So I don't think Gabriele is going to improve. So I think he may actually come into the pits after this and abandon any more hopes of getting a decent time. But yes, anyway, please feel free after watching the video to go and Google Mr. Gabriele Tarquini, and you will see just how fantastic his Formula 1 career was. Yes, I'm pretty sure it was 7 World Championships I think he won. 7 World Championships. God knows how many pole positions. I lost count after reading it in the end. I think it was about 300 or something. 300 pole positions. And just everything that Gabriele Tarquini performed in his career. Just look it up on Google and you will be amazed, because no one else seems to know these facts, but yet they are there. So as I said, yes, Gabriele Tarquini abandons any thoughts of getting a faster time in. He comes into the pits at the moment, and let's see. Oh, it is a new front wing, of course, because he damaged that one heavily into that impact into the barrier. And we've got slick tyres on once again, so let's have a look and see how the timers are doing. Sebastian Vettel's currently in the lead with a 1:17.956. Hulkenberg's in second with a 1:18. Gabriele Tarquini with George Russell in fourth in the Williams, of course, with only fourth though. That's very bad. With a 1:19, and the Hill race driver in the McLaren is in fifth at the moment with a 1:19, and Hamilton's in sixth with the Tyrrell with a 1:22. Okay, let's fast forward for the rest of qualifying and see, well, the first 15 minutes anyway, and see exactly what's happening out there on the track at the moment. Sebastian Vettel's still got pole position. He is, of course, in the Ferrari. Yes, in the Ferrari. Hulkenberg still holding on to second. Oh, look at that, everyone. There she is. The qualifying champ has once again beaten Gabrielle Tarquini. She goes straight to third place for Talangalila. Yes, she's very, very busy at the moment. Yes, delivering presents. So I don't know if she's going to actually have time to sort out the points. But we will have our fingers crossed that maybe she will. Maybe she will. Yes, she's busy in that Planet Express spaceship flying all over the place. Because Santa's, well, he's having this year off apparently. Yes, he's having this year off. He says, no, balls to it. I'm not doing any more presents. I'm done. So yes, it's down to Leela to sort it all out now. Anyway, so she's in. She's dropped down to fourth now. Daniel Ricciardo is currently in third now, and Gabriel Tarquini is still in fifth, and George Russell is still in sixth position at the moment in the first sort of quarter of the qualifying session. Anyway, Gabriel Tarquini decided that was enough and didn't go out again. So here are the final results. Charles Leclerc got pole position in the end, Sebastian Vettel in second, Talangalila got fourth, and Gabriel Tarquini got seventh. Okay, it's time now to go over to the legendary Mr. Murray Walker.
Welcome to the Canadian Grand Prix here in Montreal, at the circuit named after the great Canadian driver Gilles Villeneuve. You'd never imagine that the circuit here, next to the Olympic rowing basin and the St. Lawrence River, was put together especially for the race each year, apart from the barriers which are close into the track and can catch out the unwary. The chicanes which break up its long straights make this technically quite a tough race, but last year Damon Hill made it look easy by winning from pole position to checkered flag. The Canadian fans had to settle for a second place for their countrymen.
Thank you, Murray. So here we go then. It's time for the next round of the championship on our Formula 1 97 Let's Play for our driver of choice, Mr. Gabriel Tarquini. As the 5 lights go out and we say go, go, go. And it's away he goes. Oh, it's a terrible start for Gabriel. Oh, it's almost contact with the Sauber for Gabriel Tarquini. But there's our teammate Talangalila. He managed to get past. Oh my goodness, that was very, very close as we go into turn 1. Very, very close indeed. But Gabriel Tarquini has managed to stay into 5th position at the moment. Wowzers, because don't forget, as I've said many, many times before, there are no restarts and no flashbacks in this game. You make, and he's made a little mistake there. He goes off into the grass, but he's okay. He's managed to hold it together. As I said, there's no restarts, no flashbacks. So if you make a mistake here, it is game over until the next round of the championship. That's what makes this game so exciting indeed. Wowzers. Wowzers. I need to lie down after that. Anyway, we're trying to catch up to the back of both the Benetton cars at the moment. So Gabriel Tarquini is doing very, very well indeed, and of course this Jordan Peugeot, which is still pretty much a midfield car for the 1997 season, as we try to catch up to the back of these Benetton cars, which of course were far superior in 1997. And of course in real life, one of those was driven by John Alesi, who made that fundamental error when he ran out of fuel. Anyway, let's gloss past this. As you can see, we're just going down the extraordinary long straight of this circuit in Canada. Now, thankfully for 1997, they removed the chicane, which slowed the cars down, so we got pure acceleration and speed and everything that we need as we go past Champions Wall, complete lap 1 of this Grand Prix, still holding on to 5th position, but getting ever closer to those Benettons directly in front. Oh, is Gabriel Tarquini going to do a risky move? I'm not quite sure, because of course the other car is directly in front of that Benetton, so it's going to be very, very risky for Gabriel Tarquini. I think he's going to just play it safe and see if he can just hang it out, and maybe one of them will make a mistake or they'll slow down. He'll manage to get past. He's getting very, very close to the back end gearbox of this first Benetton then. He's not going to slow down. He's going to try and get past them, but no, he's okay at the moment. So Sebastian Vettel is currently in the lead of this Grand Prix, 2.5 seconds ahead of Gabriel Tarquini. Well, that's nothing in 1997. Absolutely nothing, especially when you consider that the gaps between first and the last placing on the grid was pretty much 10 seconds. Yes, pretty much 10 seconds, especially if it was a 40 car. Yes. So 2 seconds in 1997 is absolutely nothing. And oh dear, Gabriel Tarquini had to brake very, very hard there. You can see some of the brake dust that just sprung up there as he broke very, very hard into that corner. But he's holding on to 5th position at the moment, just going down this very, very long straight. Well, it sort of curves around, but it's mostly a straight. Now, thankfully for 1997, of course, they removed the chicane from last year, so it doesn't really slow the cars down as much as it did. Of course, this was brought in after Ayrton Senna's death for safety reasons, but then they removed it in 1997. In fact, a lot of the circuits were pretty much back to normal by 1997 standards. Anyway, lap 3 now, still chasing the car in front, which of course is both those Benettons, and one of those Benettons in front has actually caught up to the back of the Ferrari. I do believe that has to be Sebastian Vettel, because it's Charles Leclerc, of course, because Sebastian Vettel is in the lead, and we can see from the positions there at the bottom, yes, so it is Sebastian Vettel. But is Gabriele Tarquini going to do a little move here on this Benetton? He's been sizing him up for a few laps now, but I don't know if he's going to pull it off. But no, as you can see, he's actually backed out of that, and the cars in front are now starting to pull away. Of course, Gabriel is just in a Jordan Peugeot, and those cars in front, well, we've got Renault engines for, of course, the Benettons, and of course a Ferrari engine, naturally, for a Ferrari. What other engine would they have in their cars? Anyway, let's see if Gabriele Tarquini can now make a move. Well, he's going to hold station at the moment. It may be down. Oh, look at that. He's sort of cut the corner a little bit there to try and get a little bit more purchase. As he now goes for a move on the Benetton, he gets past. Oh my goodness, is he going to go for two Benettons? Almost got hit up the Jack Jones there by the first Benetton, but he gets past. Yes, up into full position now for Gabriele Tarquini. The other Benetton has backed off a little bit as we go into this corner. He's going to... No, come on, Gabriele. Oh, that's very, very smooth around there. Very, very smooth indeed for Gabriele Tarquini, but is he going to make a move now on this second Benetton? I do believe he is. Look at the horsepower that Gabriele Tarquini's got in this race at Canada. Of course, this is a very, very good circuit, I do believe, for the Jordan Peugeots in quite a few rounds of the championship. But Canada is working very, very well indeed. So Sebastian Vettel's in the lead at the moment, and we are now chasing Charles Leclerc in that Ferrari. And as I say chasing, we're actually getting very, very close to the back end of Charles Leclerc. Can we get past though? Can we get past? This is now lap 4, as you can see the gorgeousness of the trees popping into view in the background. Yes, and we go underneath the Bridgestone sign. And look at that enormous bridge in the background. I'll have to see if I can see that a little bit later into the race. But there's an enormous bridge. There it is. Look at it. Look, that looks like the Sydney Bridge. Only of course it can't be because we're in Canada. But look at it. Look at it. Just look at the length of it. Oh, look at how long is this bridge, everyone? How long is this bridge? I'm not quite sure. It does actually look a little... Oh dear, Gabriele Tarquini went a little bit wider. It does actually look like the bridge from Outrun or one of those other early games, but we'll still take it. It is a definitely very, very long bridge. I may even have to Google that and look it up and see what bridge that is. If that bridge even exists in Canada. It may not. And wait a minute, there's another bridge. Where are all these bridges coming from? As we're just about to complete lap 4 and go into lap 5. Look at this. This looks like some kind of suspension bridge ahead of us. Look at it. Look. Look how long that bridge is. Where is that stretching from? My goodness. Is that going all the way to America on that bridge? I'm not quite sure. Anyway, third position now for Gabriele Tarquini. Third position for Gabriele Tarquini on lap 5 of this Grand Prix. Our next target is, of course, Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari. And once again, we're getting very, very close to the gearbox of Charles Leclerc. Wowzers. Gabriele Tarquini is doing a fantastic job in this race. Yes, look, there's that bridge again. I'm fascinated now by bridges. Oh dear, this is very, very sad, isn't it? Dave and his obsessions. But yes, that's just a fascinating bridge to me. But unfortunately, it goes out of view there as the trees obscure. But there it is again. Look at that bridge in the background. It looks to be about 20 miles long, I have to say. Anyway, back to the race now. Back to the race. Still third for Gabriele Tarquini. Braking very, very hard once again to get rid of this corner. He's trying to get a little bit more purchase on Charles Leclerc in front of him. And I do... Oh, he is. Look, he's going to go to the slipstream. Oh, this is going to be dicey. A little bit on the grass. But yes, he managed to pull it off. Wow, that was a fantastic move from Gabriele Tarquini there. Straight up into second place now. His next target is the leader, which is Sebastian Vettel. And he's now 5 seconds up the road. Of course, he lost a little bit of time trying to negotiate past Charles Leclerc. But it's still not too bad. And Charles Leclerc is in third. Hulkenberg is in fourth position now. And Gabriele Tarquini's got a fastest lap with a 1:18.273. So he is pushing out there. He's absolutely pushing like crazy to try and get caught up to the car in front, which of course is Sebastian Vettel. So we've got 15 laps remaining. Ricciardo in 5th. Turanga Leela, there she is, everyone. Turanga Leela is in 6th position in our sister Jordan Peugeot car. Fantastic. If we can get both cars in the points at Canada, we will find out. Oh, there's a car going very, very slowly. It's one of the... Oh, Jesus. It's one of the Prost cars. We managed to get past. He's going very, very slowly around the circuit, but it's okay. Gabriele Tarquini managed to get past with no damage to the car. You have to be very, very careful in this game. for slow cars because you can just plough straight into them, and then of course that's the end of your front wing. 7.5 seconds almost now is the gap between Gabriele Tarquini and Sebastian Vettel as we're just going down the very, very long straight once more to complete lap 6 and go into lap 7. Now, of course, this is the time when the other cars are about to make their stops if they're on a 2-stop strategy, which I think most of them probably will be. And there's a car in, it's a Ferrari, and that means that Gabriele Tarquini goes into the lead. Yes, into the lead, because what I didn't mention earlier is that we've gone for a 1-stop strategy, which means we aren't going to have to pit until lap 10 of this Grand Prix. So out in the lead at the moment. This is looking good for some World Championship points for Gabriele Tarquini at Canada. And as you can also see though, it is now starting to go very, very dark and cloudy, which means it could rain. And this will add even more excitement to the end of the Grand Prix if it does start to rain. But at the moment, Gabriele Tarquini is holding on to first place now, 3.4 seconds ahead of Sebastian Vettel. But of course, he came into the pits to make his first of 2 pit stops, because if he stopped on lap 7, there is not enough tyre wear to last right until the end of the Grand Prix. So he's going to have to pit again at about lap 14. Yes, lap 14. And we're going to be able to hold it on to lap 10. Now, of course, at this point in the race, our car is going to be very, very light on fuel because, of course, as I've said in earlier episodes, fuel weight is really, really brilliantly represented in this game. And when you've only got 3 laps of fuel left in your car, it absolutely goes like a rocket ship, an absolute rocket ship. So in these 3 laps, Gabriele Tarquini is going to be able to put in quite a distance between himself and the car behind, which is now Charles Leclerc. But I think Charles Leclerc's going to have to come into the pits as well. Anyway, still holding on to first place for Gabriele Tarquini. This is now lap 8 of the championship. Yes, lap 8. Well, not the championship, basically just the race. Yes, it's lap 8 of the race. And we're now 4 seconds ahead of Charles Leclerc. Wowzers. Absolute wowzers. As we come through this chicane bit, we've got the Montreal signs in the background. You can see there that little Montreal bridge as well. Canada was a really patriotic country, or should I say still is a patriotic country, and they do like to support themselves as well in these Grand Prix, which is clearly evident by the advertising hoardings around the circuit. So we continue on, not a lot happening at the moment. Well, as I say that though, there is a car ahead of us going pretty slowly. We can just see a little black blob. Can you see that little black blob just down the road? Yes, there it is. I think that's going to be one of the back markers. It is. It's got a white livery on it. Can't see quite who it is yet. I think is it going to be one of the Tyrrells? No, it's one of the Stewarts actually. So we managed to get past that. That was of course a back marker. So on lap 9 now, Gabriele Tarquini maintains his lead. Yes, maintains his lead. Look at the gap he's going to have now, because now the other cars have passed the line at the moment. Maybe we'll see who's in second. It says 4.5 seconds between us and Charles Leclerc, but I'm not quite sure that's correct. We have another back marker, everyone. Yes. Oh, it's one of the Minardis. I recognise the livery because whenever you play this game, there always seems to be about 27 Minardis in this race because you pass them so many times. There it is, the gorgeous livery of the Minardi in 1997. That was a really, really great livery. I did like that one. I didn't like it when they went all black. It was a little bit dull. Anyway, still holding on lap 9 to first place for Gabriele Tarquini. One more lap and it'll be time for him to come in for his one and only pit stop in this race. Yes, one and only pit stop. There's the TV screens in the background once again. The attention to detail in this game is absolutely incredible. There's the grandstands. There's the crowds cheering him on, saying, "Come on, Gabriele." Look at the gap now. 13 seconds between Gabriele Tarquini and Sebastian Vettel. 19 seconds to Charles Leclerc. This is an absolutely fantastic run for Gabriele Tarquini. Just what he needs, because he's a little bit behind on points. But this is there's cars coming in, everyone. There's more cars coming in. And we've got another back marker. I do believe it's one of the other Prost cars. I think it is. Yes, it is a Prost car. I can see from the livery. And the low fuel warning light comes on for Gabriele Tarquini, which means it's time for him to make his pit stop. He'll be very, very careful. Is he going to try and negotiate this slow Prost, or is he just going to hold behind him? I don't think he's going to be able to hold behind him because he's got to press on because he's got some Ferraris going very, very fast around this circuit, of course, on fresh tyres. So he's really, really got to press on now. and it's almost time for his pit stop. Is he going to dive down the inside of the Prost car here? No, he's not. Oh, come on, Gabriel, come on, don't lose it now. So now we're going into the very, very hard braking zone of this right-hander. Maybe he'll sort of try and dip down the inside, does he? No, he doesn't. So it looks like he's going to hold station now behind this Prost car before he comes in for his one and only pit stop. 25 seconds now ahead of Charles Leclerc. Oh, he's getting very, very close. He just doesn't know what to do. He wants to go past his Prost, but he doesn't want to lose his wing. Oh, look out. No, he gets past. Yes, he gets past, but it's pretty much irrelevant because it's time to come into the pits. But there you go. In comes Gabriele Tarquini from first position now. He's only going to lose, I think, about 10 seconds in this pit stop. Of course, very, very long pit stops in 1997. He needs a new front wing, though. This is going to be pretty disastrous. I do believe it's an 8.3 second stop for Gabriele Tarquini. And he's going to rejoin. I think he's going to rejoin still in first place. 10 laps have been completed for Gabriele. And the answer to that is going to be, I'm sure it's still first. He was 25 seconds up the road. Of course, there's the in and the out, which slows you down as well, but it was only an 8-second stop. I think he may just have made it. Yes, he has. He maintains first position for Gabriele Tarquini on lap 11 of this Grand Prix, and he's got a slow car in front of him. It's one of the Tyrrells, I do believe, or it may be the other Stewart. Their liveries were very, very similar. And of course, it's hard to... it's a Tyrrell, actually, so that could either be the blessed one himself, Mr. Lewis Hamilton. Yes, Lewis Hamilton. We put them in the Tyrrells because we knew they'd be fast. And of course, it could also be his teammate, Valtteri Bottas. You never know, actually, in this game because there's no team names above the drivers, so you never know who it is you're trying to get past. Well, maybe you would know if you could actually see their helmets, but that's asking a little bit too much now. Anyway, Gabriele Tarquini holds on to first position. Charles Leclerc still in second place. This is lap 11. Almost at the end of it. We're just about to start lap 12. Oh my goodness. 8 seconds now ahead of Charles Leclerc after that pit stop. So we've got an 8-second gap now against the first of the Ferrari cars. As we're just about to start now lap 12 of this Grand Prix. So while that's going on, I'll just give you some general news. It's been announced that the sort of wider and lower profile tyres that are going to be introduced into the 2021 season will not be introduced early into the 2020 season. Yes, the teams have rejected the idea of Pirelli introducing these tyres a year early, so their first appearance will be in the 2021 season. And I have heard a report from one of the technical heads of Force India, or Racing Point I should say, who is saying that these technical regulations and the cars in 2021 are going to be very, very difficult to drive. So we will see in 2021 what is actually going to happen. Of course, all these regulation changes were brought in to improve the show and to get cars to pass each other, but if they're going to be really, really difficult to drive, this is going to add another element of uncertainty to the 2021 season. I think 2021 is going to be a really mixed season. And I think it's probably going to go down as one of those seasons that is probably going to be best forgotten. A bit like maybe the 2003 season when they brought in the qualifying changes and it messed up all the grids, and it wasn't too bad, was it? Or maybe also the 2005 season when, of course, for the first time, and it's never been repeated, there was no tyre changes for the whole of the Grand Prix. Anyway, Gabriele Tarquini is trying to get past one of the back markers. I think it's the other Tyrrell, or it could be the Stewart. I'm not quite sure. Anyway, only 8 laps remaining of this Grand Prix. Now, if you're watching this video on the Thursday, which is when I publish it, look at me, publish it. But if you're watching it on the Thursday, as he tries to go past the Stewart, come on, Gabriele, come on. Oh, we don't want to hit a back marker. Anyway, as I said, if you're watching this on the Thursday, there is a general election in the UK. Yes. And trust me, no one really gives a shit about it. No one gives a shit about it. No, we don't care actually who's going to be in charge after the 12th of December. Because they're all a load of idiots. Yes, everyone is a load of idiots. Everyone running our country at the moment is a load of idiots. And it doesn't matter which party gets in, they're all a bunch of idiots. Absolutely right. Anyway, we get past the back marker for Gabriele Tarquini. Just about to start lap 14 now. Still in first place. Now, of course, if all the other cars have got to come in for their pit stops, we are going to be doing very, very well indeed, I do believe. Yes. And it looks like this is going to be a Jordan Peugeot whitewash. Yes, it looks like it could be a win and 10 World Championship points for Gabriele Tarquini with only 7 laps remaining of this Grand Prix, while Charles Leclerc is still 8.5 seconds behind our driver. And I do believe on lap 14 he's going to come into the pit, so that's going to end him up pretty much 25, maybe even 30 seconds behind our driver, of course, Gabriele Tarquini, and that means that he's got no chance of catching him. Look at this, already up to 10 seconds now between Gabriele and Charles Leclerc. So I think it is all over, and I think he's going to win it and get 10 World Championship points to add to his tally as he brakes very, very hard once again and chucks up more of that brake dust. Of course, brake dust in 1997 was really a huge problem. You used to see it all the time when the car's locked up. You don't see it, of course, nowadays because obviously the braking systems have been improved and they use new kind of compounds for the brakes. I'm not quite sure because I'm not a technical expert on braking systems, but I'm sure that's what they do because you never seem to see any brake dust being flown up in the circuit. Now, of course, this is probably due to the fact that some of the ex-F1 drivers a few years ago actually went for some medical checks, and it was found that there was quite a high amount of brake dust in their lungs. Yes, which is of course not good for them, of their future health, because of course once they retire from Formula 1, that isn't the end of the story. No, they've still got very, very long and rich lives after that. But of course this was quite a worrying concern, but I think they have managed to address that now, as I say, with new compounds in the braking systems, so that there's not as much dust that is now thrown up when they brake, even if they brake hard. You still see the tyres locking up, but you don't seem to see any of that brake dust, which was very, very prevalent in 1997. Anyway, Gabriele Tarquini has got past 2 backmarker cars now, still holding on lap 15 to this first position. Yes, this is going to be a fantastic result for our Jordan team if we can manage to win the race and hopefully not stuff it up. Hopefully not stuff it up. But I have to say, Gabriele Tarquini has driven absolutely superbly in this race. He has not put a foot wrong. He hasn't, of course, got to come in for a stop again, so he's just got to drive the car. And there it is. Confirmation, as I said earlier. Charles Leclerc has come in for his pit stop, and he's now 24 seconds down the road on our driver, Mr. Gabriele Tarquini, as he's now trying to negotiate another back marker. It's one of the Arrow cars. Of course, in real life in 1997, one of these cars was driven by Mr. Damon Hill. Oh, excuse me. Damon! Damon! No. Yes. Unfortunately, he won the World Championship in 1996, but before he even won that championship, he was in fact sacked by Williams. Yes, it was kept sort of hush-hush and under the carpet as you would, but yes, he was actually fired long before he won the World Championship. And so he was looking around for other drivers and decided that Arrows were the best team that was going to take him forward through the 1997 season. Or maybe it's just because that's the only car he could get, or the only driver he could get, because obviously it was very, very late into the season. And this announcement that he was actually leaving Williams, I do believe they left that off right until the end of the season, didn't they? In 1996, because obviously they were more concentrating on getting him to win the championship, because obviously if he sort of found out really early that he was being fired, it would have lost his motivation. And oh my goodness, he comes in for another stop. What is going on? Gabriele Tarquini has come in for another stop. Well, he's obviously felt that he's so far ahead, he's got enough time to come in for a second pit stop, and he does do. So he's now on fresh tyres. Well, this is absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic for Gabriele Tarquini. He comes out on lap 17, still in the lead of this race. Yeah, he was 43 seconds. Of course, he's lost that for the pit stop, but he's still going to be about 30 seconds ahead now. So it's looking very, very good for World Championship points for Gabriele Tarquini, as once again he's trying to negotiate these back marker cars, which is once again an Arrows car. As I was saying, talking about Damon Hill, yes, So of course they were trying to keep him motivated, and of course Damon Hill had his own sort of problems at the sort of midway point of 96, where his season was definitely starting to go down the toilet. Yes, and he was starting to get a few crisis moments in there for Damon Hill. If anyone can remember, I think, was it Japan when he spun out and everyone saw him spun out under the bridge. Murray Walker went absolutely crazy at that moment. But yeah, I think that was because he hit the tyres, because of course that was the year when they had all the tyre barriers. He may have done. My memory's not that good, as I'm trying to talk and remember things at the same time. But yes, I think that's what happened. And yeah, I say Murray Walker went crazy. So there was definitely a dip in Damon Hill's performance. But in the end, he won the championship against Michael Schumacher. Of course, Michael Schumacher was in his first year at Ferrari, and that Ferrari car, it really wasn't a championship contender anyway. And Michael Schumacher did very, very well to get it to the position that it ended in. But yeah, so some would say that Damon Hill possibly lucked into his world championship. I wouldn't say that. He still won it, and the one who wins it is all that matters. Unless it's Benetton, of course, and you end up cheating your way to victory. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Anyway, lap 18 for Gabriele Tarquini, still out in the lead, as you can see. Fantastic. It looks like he's going to finish in first place with those 10 World Championship points. And just look at this game, everyone. I'll tell you what, I had someone in the comments, I think in the last video, saying thanks so much for uploading this because it brought back memories of my childhood. And that's basically what F1 Games PlayStation is for any of our new subscribers. I don't just do all the modern stuff like the F1 2019s. I have to say, to be perfectly honest, I'd much rather play these games than the modern games. I know they've got all the bells and whistles on all these modern games, but this kind of game is just, it's just so much more raw. It really is. It's just got so much more excitement. Once you start having to fiddle around with your ERS deployment and your fuel as well, it just takes that little bit away from actually driving and racing, which is what basically these games are all about. But there you go. I'm just waffling, and in front of us now it looks like we've got a Williams car. Oh my goodness, what has happened here? We have a Williams in front. I'm sure that is a Williams. That's either Robert Kubica or George Russell, of course. Very, very sad that Robert Kubica is no longer going to be with us, in Formula 1 terms anyway. He retired, of course, at the end of the season. A fantastic comeback for Robert Kubica, has to be said. And I'd also like to say that for anyone who's had a disability, they will know that it's, well, you never end up the same. Let's put it that way. You never end up the same. But that does not mean for 1 second that your life is over. Not for 1 second. But you just have to adapt to things, and you have to realise some things as well, that, you know, in some situations this is it now, and you just basically got to deal with it. Anyway, Gabriele Tarquini on the last lap of the Grand Prix goes past the Williams car, still in first position. This is going to be another fantastic result for our Jordan Peugeot car, of course in real life driven by Ralf Schumacher in 1997. Yes, and he's got a fastest lap as well of a 1:18. This is absolutely brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So this is the final lap, just a few more corners to go, and Gabriele Tarquini, hopefully, I'm not going to call it yet, because there has been the dreaded fuel line failure right at the end of the Grand Prix. I've had it quite a few times, in fact. But let's see if Gabriele Tarquini can win the race. Let's not put the Murray Hex on it. I wish I hadn't have said that now. Okay, we've got a Minardi in front of us now, but I think he's just going to hold station behind the Minardi, because we're 45 seconds ahead now of Charles Leclerc. Oh, no, he's not. He's going past the Minardi. Wowzers. And we've got another Williams. Oh, my goodness. Yes, it is another. He's not going to pass that Williams, though. No, it'd be pretty daft to pass the Williams on the last corner. So he's just going to follow round the Williams and cross the line in first position. Wowzers, fantastic for Gabriele Tarquini. Yes, get in there. Oh my goodness. Woo. Yes. I get so excited with these races. I really do get so excited. And now it's time for the loading screen from hell. Always just last about 3 minutes, this loading screen. I've no idea why. But thankfully, it nearly always went to the results screen, because of course you can't save it until you get past this bit. But thankfully, I think I've never had a problem with this game not being able to save it. So here's the final results. Anyway, after 20 laps, Gabriele Tarquini won the race, Charles Leclerc in second, Daniel Ricciardo in third, Sebastian Vettel in fourth, Nico Hulkenberg in fifth, Antonio Giovinazzi in sixth position, and we got the fastest lap. After 7 rounds, we're in 5th place now with 24 World Championship points. Sebastian Vettel's in the lead at the moment of the Ferrari with 34 World Championship points. Well, I'd just like to say thanks so much for watching, everyone. I will leave you, of course, as I always do, with more music from the brilliant soundtrack of Formula 1 97. Good night.